Morning, everyone. So back on the track chipper build here. If you haven't watched, I think this is part 5. I'm gonna go through the videos and put in all the images, part 1, part 2, so anyone can go back through and see it. So when we last left off, we're mounting the Dutes onto the chipper. Still waiting for parts. Ordered some parts on the 25th of July on some eBay stuff, and I still don't even have a tracking number, so I'm trying to resolve that with eBay right now. What sucks is they're literally like brand new OEM Dutes parts to mount the hydraulic pump, and I can't find anywhere else that has them, and it was a really good deal. So it was brand new. But on the other side, we got the undercarriage. So I've actually known about this excavator for probably 6 months, but before I go show it to you guys, the guy started really high. He wanted 15 grand originally. There's no way I'm paying 15 grand for a smashed up excavator. So, him trying to sell it, posting it, yada yada, people looking at it. It was like down this canyon, way in the middle of nowhere. Just this steep ground. I actually had a kind of a small contact because one of my buddies lived across the street that had a big 314 excavator, and the plan was to walk it across. Well, it was going to take literally half the day to walk it, pick it up, carry it out of the canyon where I could park my truck and trailer and load it up there. But that changed once I saw the distance from where the 314 was to where this excavator was. So I'm going to turn around, show it to you guys, and yeah. So I was kind of bummed. I didn't really get much videos of this thing, just because I didn't really know the guy, and some people take a little weird of GoPros on the thing. Definitely where this was. I'm in Northern California, and we say this lightly. People in the hills grow weed, marijuana, and that's just what it is. So this was in the midst of a marijuana patch. So I wasn't going to record it because they don't want that. So, but yeah. So here it is. It's a Kubota U45 and a Doug fir smashed across the top of this thing. It was sitting down in this little area, and you can see, I mean, it hit it hard. And like I said, when I first saw the pictures, I was like, all right, well, we're gonna have to lift this thing out. When you can see, the intake is broken, the injector line back here is smashed, the whole fuel assembly is broken off. Radiator, I took some stuff off of it, and I'll kind of explain that. Radiator is gone. The water pump is smashed in the block. Air filter's gone. Yeah, it got hit hard. So when I first looked at this, I was like, you know what? I was like, most likely I ain't gonna get this thing running, so we gotta walk the excavator. And that's kind of when the negotiations starting. I had access to the excavator, where he technically did not, the owner of this, and other people that are trying to buy it. So to get it out from where it was going to cost someone a lot of money and a lot of time. Me, I kind of, like I said, I can walk the 314 across. Well, it took all but of 3 hours to walk it one way. Once I started looking at it and started negotiating, I was kind of like, I actually think I might can get this thing running, and we'll just walk it 45 seconds at a time, let it cool down because there is no coolant, and try to get it out onto the trailer. And that's exactly what we did. So, well, I'll show you. Is this thing is actually it's a and it still completely functions. Not on it, but yeah. It still walks, it still, everything still works. So, yes, I walked it out, and I have a couple short little videos. Well, I didn't walk out. A buddy of mine was with me. He's a good friend of mine. He came up, and so I can record. He walked it. So I'll post that little short video here of him walking kind of out of the spot, the hill climb where it was at, and then loading on the trailer.
So much water came out the exhaust. That's fine. I think you're good.
All right, so now that we're back, so pretty much what we're going to do, and the reason someone's going to ask, why wouldn't you fix this thing? Okay, first off, this is your main frame here that connects to your ROPS or cage, whatever you want to call it. Cage is broken, that's broken, and if you look, it hit so hard, the top plate is tweaked. And then if you look a little bit more, it's barely much, but you can notice it. If you can see that little curl bend there, it bent this main structure frame just a hair. Not anything I'm worried about for on the chipper. But yeah, you know, to make this thing a proper excavator, I mean, third world country, this thing's a charm, you know. Throw a radiator on top of the cab there all bent and go for it. But I'm not gonna run it like that. And it's a perfectly good undercarriage for what I'm needing. So I'm gonna try to get out of the sun here, and I'll kind of talk a little bit more on what my plans are. So we score that thing for 2,500 bucks. Was supposed to have buckets with it. I talked them down to 2,500 bucks. No buckets. Yes, did the buckets have value? But that's one more thing I'm sitting on and trying to sell because I'm not saving it. So for 2,500 bucks, I think I can part that thing out, what I'm not using, and get my money back. No problem. So far into this tire build, and I'll break this down at the end of the video. You know, category line, I'll draw on a piece of paper. So far, I think we're like $4,000 into this build, and that's not counting what I can part out on that. So, give or take. But yeah, so what my goal is on this is I want to leave the main turntable down. So the main frame housing, okay? The reason why that is this frame needs to be reinforced anyways if I want to be pitting tracks off the side here. And if I use that and then just do some bracing off that main frame, I want to keep the blade. And the reason why for that is, let's say you're on a slope or an incline and you want to level out the machine, or say there's some brush in the way, you want to doze it. I don't have my excavator out there because I'm just going to hand feed this. Quick little easy job. I can push logs, level it out, grade, I don't know, grade wood chips out, stuff like that. If I can save the blade, I would be happy. Now, is it going to be super easy? It would be a lot easier to get rid of the blade because I could center this exactly where it should be. But this is my plan. So the tracks are 8 feet long on the dot, and that is the exact length of the frame from there to here, okay? And then the blade, if it's sitting there, the blade I want to come out just in front of this so it can be raised as high as possible. And the reason why for that is, say you're going up on the ground and you're about to climb a hill, You don't want the blade to hit the hill where you can't go up. Okay, you want that blade to be raised as much as possible. Now, with leaving that and pinning it on this, it's going to raise the chipper up 4 inches. What is honestly totally fine by me, because I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's my knee, and there's the chute. This chipper sits very low compared to any other chipper I've ran. And for hand feeding with a machine, that's no problem. But again, I want to leave this operation where I can hand feed it by hand too. Sometimes it's not worth dragging 2 pieces of equipment out to a small little job. Some people disagree with me. I've had a couple employees that I mentioned dragging brush and they lose their mind. So if you're watching, you know who you are. So me personally, if it's 2 hours of dragging brush, I'm just going to leave the equipment at home. That's just how I work. Bring the chipper, drag brush, shove it in, bring it home. You're not doing 2 trips. You know, you can charge still the same amount of money as bringing the machine because you're bidding the job, but you don't have that second piece of equipment and you got to haul and off-haul. This thing, if I can do my math right, it's going to weigh about 12,000 pounds. So you do this and the mini skid, or not mini skid, my skid steer, a TL12 out there, or an excavator, you're in the 25,000 pound range. Well, it just puts it too heavy to tow behind my 450. So, but, alright, I want to stop blabbing on here. What my goal is we're going to strip this axle out of here. We're going to rip these fenders off. We're going to take the motor off. And the reason why that is to lift this and set it on top of the excavator carriage. I'd rather not have the motor on there. There's a couple, I need to put that bracket for the hydraulic pump and all that. So that would be easier if the motor's down on the ground anyways. But I think the best thing to do before it gets stupid hot, it's supposed to be 108 today, or 104, is start stripping that thing down. Get the parts I want to save, get everything ready to part out, and get that undercarriage where I can wash it, and get that undercarriage over here where I start measuring and coming up with ideas to lift that to this. So let's get to it. And then, like I said, at the end of this, probably not going to be much fabrication in this video. That's more just me talking. The only other thing I'm actually thinking about is just talking to you guys how I'm going to do the remote control. Like the wireless. So here's your valve body right here. I'm going to need to have six functions total. I would like to do 8, but once you go from that 6 to 8, it gets expensive. So one of my biggest things, I'm trying to flip this around so you guys can see me. Okay, so one of my biggest things is, here. I want to keep it mechanically too. I want to be able to move the tracks forwards and back with hand levers. Now, if I'm in my machine, I want a remote where I can move it, okay? So it needs to be manual levers and wireless remote. The downfall with that is getting a valve body that has manual levers and electric with the remote is stupid expensive. I could totally buy it. Do I want to buy it? No. It's like $7 grand. That you're talking more money than that would be the most expensive part of the project. Other thing too about that is it kind of seems for that price the levers are kind of, they seem cheap, just cheap. So another thing when I saw, and it's a crane, it's like adding a remote to a crane. So it has your remote control and it has little push rods, and pretty much what you do is you can see right here you have these little hole levers, and then you mount the push rod here and it activates this back and forth. Rollbacks have it and all that, and I'll try to, at the end of this, when I do the price and everything, I will try to put a link of what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking. So pretty much what I'll do is this is a stackable block, is I'll go get more of these hydraulics and I'll stack them all up, okay? And then I'll even add some more because some of the stuff can be mechanical. You know, have extra. I like to add a winch remote or a winch. Where it'll be cool if it's wireless, but if it's not the end of the world. That could be mechanical. Another thing I want to do is add hydraulic motor to turn the chute where I want. So there's more. Then you know you got blade, you got forwards and backs on both tracks. Yoke roller feeds. So that's what I'm thinking. That kit with the electronic harness, the actuators and all that is like $2,000. That seems a little bit more realistic to me. What's nice about that is if that fails, you still have your mechanical part, where the other ones, little electronic solenoids with little levers, and it just seems, I don't know, seems like a lot of money for potentially really the same end result for $2,000. So I think that's what we're gonna go with. Another thing, what I need to figure out is I need to relocate the battery box because it's underneath this. The def tank, we're going to be relocating over to this side. So there's a lot of little stuff to do. So let's start stripping this excavator, and I don't know if we're gonna get fully stripped, but we're gonna get most of it today. So we shall find out. Okay, so my thought on this process to do this nicely and not hurt myself is I'm gonna strip the counterweight off. Then I'm gonna take the boom off, okay, and I'm gonna set, you know, all that nicely out of the way. So all it would be is the main cab here, motor. Take the counterweight, so this part won't weigh that much. Go out under, take the turntable stuff off, and then just put my forks right through this cab and lift this off all in one piece. So I can set it to the side, and then I can slowly part and steal parts off this, what I need. But I don't know how much this thing weighs with that turntable, but I figured take the turntable off, that's easy. Take the boom off, I should be able to lift that cab no problem. So let's strip this thing. Let's get my skid steer over here where I can put the forks underneath this turntable. Hopefully not damage anything. Don't you get your hands pinching that thing. Jeez Louise. Woo! That's some weight. I want to say that's normally counterweights are concrete. I think this is solid steel. Dude, that thing's clean. So, well, that was easy. So let's go set this to the side. So now that the back of the machine is off, you can definitely see how hard this thing hit. Bent that. Totally gone. Yeah, she's gonna be a parts machine, sadly enough. So yeah, you win some, you lose some. But when the motor runs good, and there's plenty of good parts, so honestly, it's a perfect contender for what I'm doing.
Yeah, all his stuff ready to go. So I sent out, I called in, their concrete's like 3 weeks out. And then that other house, we're looking at like the 27th. So we'll get everything ready. But I'm adding, you know, my house, I'm going to put a couple more penetrations in. I'm doing
I said, I like dropped it because I didn't want to be completely underneath this thing.
Did that hose ever come off?
Yeah, kind of.
Hey, do you have a hex adapter to a round auger?
You're talking to me at someone else. Probably.
To change the auger bit.
Okay. Go slowly when you're lifting up. Make sure this thing's still on. Oh yeah, 20-minute video. Okay, fire it up.
Okay.
Go up a little bit. I might need to move that pump around just a hair.
Don't worry, somebody put like 400 Ps here, so it's hard.
Goodness, it's off. Oh, I have it. I just. Thanks, Danny.
Oh, there's that socket you were looking for. Now we can put it all back together.
Oh yeah, thanks.
This is how you really do a good deep clean.
Yeah, no thank you. I don't want to do this again anytime soon. Alright, so it's the next day. That was, I'm not gonna lie, that was one hell of a project getting that freaking top end off. Where the hell is it? Over there. Those bolts, I think from the impact, just pitted on there like no other. I mean, I broke a 3/4 inch breaker bar in one, and then luckily a buddy of mine came over, thanks to Danny, and I could stay under there while he had a 6-foot cheater bar on it, and we can move it down. But it was yeah, I almost thought about just rolling the excavator over on its side and taking off that way. But so, like I promised, we're gonna do a little breakdown on the cost. Okay, and this might get a little confusing to some, but I'm breaking down of what I'm selling off of what I bought and I'm not using to get my total cost. So we'll start from the top. The chipper was $5,245.38. That was the chipper and shipping. Okay, the Dutes was $17.78. I went and picked that up, so I'm not counting my time. The excavator was $2,500. Belts, filters, miscellaneous, 201, 238, 138, for a total of $10,102.59. Okay, so far I have sold is the 4BT. Got $3,500 for it plus $1,000 to deliver it. I was already going that way, so you can count that or not if you want. So, and then the axle, yes, it's still under, but it's already sold. Cousin's buying that for their chipper. There's $1,000. So if you count that as 5,500, total into this investment is 4,602.59. And I still have the entire excavator to part out. Okay, and I know to some, you know, that takes time on that. Yeah, it does take time, but mind the disaster over here. When I got booms and top of cat, I got a lot of parts, so should be totally fine. So what we're gonna do now is I slid over here so I can wash it. I'm gonna spray out all this dirt and all that. There's the booms, and then get this cleaned up and into the shop. So I've been having a really bad issue with my GoPro. I don't know if it's the heat, it's just been really hot. I'm really considering trying to find another brand camera. I've been saying this for a long time, but now that the channel is actually growing pretty decently, it'd be nice to have some type of quality. I mean, yesterday, this thing twice, I lost footage, it would freeze, go to record, it would freeze, so I have to take it all apart and take the batteries apart. Over here watching Victory. If you guys haven't watched this channel, this is hands down my favorite channel. It's called Victory Outdoor Service. The guy's a concrete contractor, but I don't know why. It's entertaining, and secretly, I actually really do love concrete. I wouldn't say I'm the best at concrete, but I actually do like finishing. So, shout out to Ryan and his channel. But, yeah, so there's the breakdown, like I said. And, you know, I think I can probably get all bit and then some back on parting out pieces off the excavator. I mean, I have a guy interested just in the thumb and stuff for $1,000, so, and all that. So there's a lot of money to be made there. So, you know, really, I mean, there's other stuff I guess he'll spend, but the most expensive part will be the hydraulics operation. But like I said, I mean, from what I'm gathering, I think it would be like 5 to 6, maybe into this tire project once I part the excavator out. So I'm stoked. Like I said, I mean, I was hoping to be under 10 originally, so I think that was my original. But like I said, little shit comes out. Who knows? But let's get this track system washed off and go from there. Alright. I didn't think you guys want to watch me pressure wash, but hopefully none of you did. Let's walk this thing in and go from there. Now you guys can see the vision. So it needs to go a little bit more forwards. But yeah, you can see the idea. Like I said, it needs to go I don't know, a foot forwards. So the rear of the tracks are going to be like where that bearing is. There's not much weight off the back there. Majority of the weight's there. The only time there'll be weight is when a tree hits it, but I mean, you never know, but most likely anything 20 inches or less is never going to make this thing go airworthy. So it's going. Oh, apparently that hydraulic line decided to display fluid everywhere. So that is, I think, going to be a wrap on this video. Like I said, I'm trying to record as much as possible and post for you guys, so everyone can see it. You know, some guys like this content, some guys don't. Me personally, this kind of stuff I watch, so you know, hey, it's what it is. But yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. On next video, we'll be getting that ready and hopefully transferring it over here. And the goal I'm kind of pushing for is like averaging like 5 days to get a video out. It might not just be this, might be something else, but that's my goal. Sadly enough, you know, sometimes life gets in the way and I just don't have good content. I record shit constantly, business-wise and maintenance and working, and I'll probably post a quarter of what I record because some of it is just like, you guys don't want, I mean, me personally, I don't want to watch a video, or I don't think you guys want to watch a video doing an oil change in the Takeuchi. Like, it's just not there. So, but thank you guys for watching, and this shall be interesting, to say the least.